Hey guys, I hope you're okay. I hope that you have been well. I hope that you have been doing your homeworks. I've been expecting a lot of homeworks from a lot of people, and sadly, I haven't gotten them. So, kind of sad because you will have no points, and that's a decision. That's something that you have decided. If you don't want to work, I'm sorry. It's very hard for me to force you to work. And there's a bunch of homeworks you haven't sent. I'm sorry to say that sixth grade is the grade with the less work so far, and it's super sad. Um, sorry. I think that I sent you to do. I asked you to do a couple questions, random questions, and they were supposed to be sent on Wednesday. I haven't gotten those questions from a lot of people. I keep looking for them so I can explain it to you because you were supposed to send them on Wednesday so I could make an example for everybody so we could discuss them. But you haven't. And I will have to we're gonna have to, I don't know, stop the advance or something. I'm gonna have to advance at some point, either with you or without you, because yep, not even the top people of the class have sent those questions, and oh, someone did. Yep. Okay, so we are gonna have a video on Wednesday explaining you those so-called questions. Excellent. One person did. If one person did, means that I have been explaining enough. And if you don't want to work, it's because you just don't want to, and that's your own problem. That's not my problem. Okay, so that's gonna be for Wednesday. Today we are going to continue reading Stranger Things. Remember that you're gonna be assessed on this. You were supposed to finish reading the first section of chapter 5 the last week. I hope you did, because there's a lot of pretty interesting things happening in there about theories and Andrew's relationship and some politics background that happened in the time. Okay, so let's go to section 2 of chapter 5. In my book is page 95. Remember that it depends on every book, so you have to pay attention to what you underline or mark with something where you're reading. Let's start. Section 2, chapter 5, okay? Page 95 in my case. Terry cuts a generous wedge of sugary custardy hozier pie and delivered the room dessert plate to her last active lunch table. She breezed back by the counter and exchanged a nod with Lori, the other waitress on the day shift, who also made all the pies. I'm on my break for 10, Terry said. You got it, sweetie, the older woman said. Go hang out with your friends. Terry picked up a chair and moved it to the end of the booth, where Ken, Gloria, Alice, and Andrew waited after having finished their lunches. BLTs and Cokes all around. A BLT, it's a bread, lettuce, tomato sandwich, if I'm not wrong, and Cokes all round. They've been easier to take care of this time, not least because she'd been expecting them. Why did you want to see us? Alice asked with zero preliminaries. Did you come up with an idea? Andrew nudged her. Kid sister, you know she did. Maybe only if you agree, Terry kept her voice low. I'm wondering, assuming I can find some way to get in the wing where I saw Callie. Remember who Callie is? I think I can help with that part. Oh, I love that song. It's exciting. Okay. Maybe only if you agree. Terry kept her voice low. I'm wondering, assuming I can find some way to get in the wing where I saw Callie, I think I can help with that part. Alice said. I watch when Brenner enters his code. 956396. It's the same every time. It probably works on all the keypads in the place. And so it should get you in. A moment of silence. Alice, Terry said, you will never stop surprising me. I'll need you to write that down so I can memorize it. Sure, Alice gave a slightly embarrassed shrug. I just noticed things is all. What's next in your plan? Gloria asked. With that taken care of, if one of you could create a diversion, I might not be able to find the girl again and talk to her. Assuming she's there, if she's not, maybe I can look for Brenner's office and do some snooping. We know we can just stop going. Are you sure about that? Andrew asked. Terry felt like an exposed nerve. One, there's a small child taking part of something, and we don't know if she's safe. And two, Gloria said, it won't be that easy. The three of us would flunk out of school, and that's if they let us leave. What do you mean, let you leave? Andrew asked, outraged. Terry reached a hand over to remind him to keep his voice down. He lowered it. You have rights. You are American. Like that means something for these people. Gloria smiled wryly. When it's a government involved, I think you'll find our rights are often to be determined. Andrew absorbed that. I don't like this. Welcome to my club, Gloria said. I'm the chairperson. Look, I'll do whatever you need, Alice interrupted. I've been dying to take apart that elevator. I could probably convince them to let me. Alice isn't even in school. She probably could leave, Andrew again. Gloria cleared her throat. You can't know that. These are people with resources. Alice sat up straighter. Don't debate like I don't have a choice. I'm not leaving until everyone does. And I can be the distraction. Ken finally spoke up. No. You have enough to worry about. I'll do it. You? Alice's tone was skeptical. I rock at distractions, man, he shrugged. And the acid doesn't do anything to me. I just feel like I need a nap. They just leave me some junior guy with me. I'm not even sure why I'm there, except that I'm supposed to be. Alice sighed. Well, if you're the distraction, just don't fall asleep, Terry said, feeling this meeting about to slip out of her control. We can figure out timing. I can ask Callie about Papa and what happens to her at the lab. But what if I find Brenner's office instead? I wish I knew what would help us the most in terms of information. Gloria put her elbows on the table. I might be able to help with that part. If you can get into his office, the best thing would be documents that describe experiment protocols, also subject records. She frowned. You might need to find a key. Brenner's not a slouch. Most scientists would lock up classified information. So they're trying to find what is Brenner up to. I can pick a lock, Alice said. Crap, but then he's too arrogant for us to need to, Terry said. I bet he takes the protections all around him in Hawkins for granted enough to not to worry about the security inside his office. Gloria lifted two crossed fingers. I think I might be able to grab some samples of the drug cocktail in case we need it for proof or to analyze somehow. All right, Terry said. Gloria lifted her eyebrows. Then we have a very slim, risky plan. So we do, Terry said. It feels better than not having one, slim or not. Alice nudged Andrew's arms. I read about your protest, big brother. Can't believe you got arrested. Everything okay? Her obvious concern made Terry's heart grow. This might have been the only 5 minutes today she hadn't spent worrying about him. I'm fine, Andrew said, ducking his head. He meets with his advisor and the dean on Friday. We're hoping he gets off because of the other guys, Terry said. Andrew gave her a grateful look. Gloria lifted her fingers again, still crossed. Yeah, Terry said. We need all the luck we can get right now. So if you want to know what happened to Andrew, you're going to have to finish reading the part of chapter 4, section 5, 6. And you just have to finish chapter 4. That's where it says what happened to Andrew. That's something that is very common in the States, also in Honduras too. When people protest about something, government usually just send them to jail so they don't have to handle them or answer to their requests. Section 2, chapter 5. Section 2 we just read. Now we're just gonna start reading section 3. Ken got out of the van last and hurried to catch the others so they could walk to the lab entrance together. The entire approach had grown as familiar to him as his own handwriting. Once outside, the city came the cornfields, followed by the woods, and then the chain link and the speed bumps. 1, 2, 3, as they rolled through the security stops and onto the building for the LSD. He felt like he'd seen it in glimpses. Before they made the first drive, he knew the others didn't believe that he was psychic. What people believed didn't matter. The truth did. He didn't see monsters, but he got feelings. Certainty would lodge itself in his chest. He had dreams with snatches of reality mixed in, flashes of intuition. These came unpredictably, which he always thought was funny, and so he was never surprised if an inkling showed up, or if it didn't. He had been lying when he told the others he knew they'd be important to each other. It's just that was most of what he knew. So sure he understood why other people didn't believe he was psychic. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe there just wasn't another good word to describe it. The entry protocol had also taken on a familiar rhythm. Each of the women scanned in with ID cards, then Ken last. The driver usually played escort, bringing them to the elevator, where Brenner or one of his staff would meet them. The driver, of course, was also a plant. One of Brenner's orderlies who almost always peeled off with Brenner and Terry into whatever room she was taken into. So it went today. When the agreed upon 2 hours into their trips arrived and he began to shriek about how the walls were bleeding, the guy assigned to watch him shifted nervously. "They're bleeding! The walls are dripping blood!" "Keep it down," the guy said, fidgeting. "Pull an alarm," Ken roared. "You have to tell everyone. Invaders! Don't you see the blood?" So I guess that someone that is with Ken, one of the orderlies, one of the guards, is seeing blood on the walls. Oh, the man stood in his orderly costume looking around if someone might help him, but they were alone. It was not that Ken would pull out his big gun, a packet of sots. He'd bought his mom Halloween supplies when he'd seen this new type of candy in the aisle and called to him. He'd bought 3 packs and put them in a dress drawer in his dorm room. He'd know by the moment Terry said she needed a diversion. Cleaning and covering his mouth, he put a handful of the candies with the sour exploding centers and chopped it down. Then threw his head back so the guy could hear the fizzing sound and see the foam. He jerked convincingly as he could, imitating his uncle mid-seizure. Oh, so he was pretending that he was seizing. He ate a candy that produced some foam, some bubbles and foam in his mouth, so people would think that he was having a seizure. Like, that's kind of like a seizure. I'm pretty sure people in YouTube is going to be offended that I did it. Probably I shouldn't do it. Probably, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I did it. My students, I try to explain them things with examples of things, and I usually mimic things. I'm sorry if I was offended. If I was offensive to people with seizures, I'm really sorry. That's not something to make fun of. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, YouTube. I hope that they don't delete this video. I'm sorry. I'll try to be more respectful to people with seizures. As anticipated, the practically a kid orderly flipped out. "I think he got rabies," he said before he rushed out the door. "The blood! The blood!" Ken shouted, barely able to keep from cracking up. He ran out into the hallway and pulled the fire alarm lever on the wall, then darted back into the exam room and proceeded to swallow the remaining sots and convulse on the floor. The alarm shrieked on, and the orderly finally returned with a tall female doctor who gave Ken one look and said, "We'll have to get Brenner." The orderly did nothing and shoved him. "Get Brenner and tell him to bring some sedatives." Ken turned his face toward the floor so he could grin. "Go, Terry, go," he thought. "You can do this." So far we have read chapter 5, sections 2 and 3. You are going to continue reading 4. You are going to continue reading 4 and 5. So I'll see you on next week with some more of this. We are going to continue on 6. So I read 2 and 3. You're going to read 4 and 5. Okay? Again, I read for you 2 and 3. You are going to read 3 and 4. Oh. I keep mistaking. So I read for you 2 and 3, and then 2 and 3, and then you alone are gonna read 4 and 5, okay? That's what you're gonna read alone, 4 and 5, because I already read this with you. This is gonna be a video that you will use Monday, Tuesday, so you can have the guidelines of what you should do, and then on Wednesday I'll see you with explanations of the homework that you were supposed to do that you didn't, so you lose the points, but you still have an assessment on Friday based on these questions. Don't text me telling me, Mister, what do I miss? I just told you you didn't do the questions, or if you did, thank you, I appreciate it. I know that some very few people did it. The rest of the people didn't care about the homework and didn't do it. So I hope that you're ready for Friday's assessments without doing your homework. I'll see you guys.